is Liz Ashley, and welcome to my channel. I don't know why my voice, sounds like kind of scratchy. I guess I didn't really talk that much today. Hello, happy Labor Day. My name is Liz Ashley, and welcome to my channel. I feel like I already said that. Today, we are going to be talking about Trump's proof of life. We're also going to be talking about the updates on Chicago. And then for the learning section, we are going to be talking about Labor Day and the history of Labor Day. And yeah, today might be a little bit short since it is Labor Day. But I still wanted to go live and hang out with you all. So yes, hello. Yes, happy Labor Day. All right, so we're going to get into it with the question of the day. All right, so my question of the day is, have you seen the Katrina documentary on Netflix? I literally watched that today, and I've been avoiding watching it because I know that it's going to be really sad, and it was really sad. And it was so good though. Like, it was amazing. It was a really good documentary, but it really sucked because it just it shows you how much the government was not there for them. And it's also a really scary thing to watch as our National Guard are in Washington, D.C., and we're going to talk about them going to Chicago, all while there are also natural disasters happening. And so it's just I feel like it's a scary thing to watch, trying to figure out what's to come. But it's a great documentary and you should really watch it. I learned so much, and I learned so much that I didn't know what was going on back then, because I was younger. But literally, they were not prepared for it at all. They were not prepared for the hurricane whatsoever, even though they knew that it was coming. They started treating all of these people who were survivors of the hurricane as criminals. They literally sent the National Guard on them, and at first it was to help, but then they were like, if anyone loots, we're gonna shoot them. But people were looting, or people were taking things because they didn't have any food and the government wasn't providing it. They also didn't have clean water. And it was just insane. It was insane the amount of brutality they used for people who were literally survivors of this mass tragedy. And so, it's a really good documentary. It's very sad, but it's good. So have you seen it? Tell me what you think about it. Okay. Next, Donald dead. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna talk about that today. All right. First, now we're gonna get into today's headlines. So today's headlines are: there are tons of protests in Chicago right now pushing back against the National Guard being sent there. Brandon Johnson actually signed an executive order for local police not to work with the National Guard. So we're going to talk about that a little bit next. Not next, but later in the live. Rudy Giuliani got in a car crash. And so Donald Trump is giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, I'm pretty sure it is, or honors, or I think it's the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is a little weird, a little crazy, but hey, okay, sure. All right. China, India, and Russia met today as tariff concerns are looming. And so China and Russia and India are trying to work together amidst all the tariff chaos. And then experts warn about travel being down in U.S. after the summer. And they think travel and international travel is going to continue to decline, which I think you could have called that one when people are being detained at the border and being questioned and having their phones looked through and all those things. That makes a lot of sense if you ask me. So, yes. All right. All right. So, next, we're going to talk about the topic of the day, which is Donald Trump dying, or is he alive, or is he having mini strokes? Who knows? I don't know. All right, let's get into it.
Right now, I do want to get you out to a live look over the White House at this hour as we do talk about the rumors that have blown up all over social media.
Yeah, so there have been tons of rumors over social media over the weekend if Donald Trump is dead or dying. And this comes after he had that huge bruise on his hand, right? And apparently the Queen had a huge bruise like that on her hand right before she died. So everyone's like, oh my God, is he going to die? What's his face? Alex. Why can't I think of his last name? Alex Jones is like, oh, he's going to die in 6 months. He's going to die in 12 months. And so, of course, everyone online it was talking about that. So it's funny because Threads, I've been saying, is very toxic, which it is. But throughout the Taylor Lorenz slander, there was also really funny stuff about Trump, like being dead or not, or dying or whatever. And so, again, I still wouldn't suggest going on Threads. It is so toxic. And the amount of people who are like bashing Taylor Lorenz is really bewildering, honestly. Because that saga is continuing. Maybe we'll talk about the crash out on Wednesday, like more of the crash out on Wednesday. But the other thing that was on the internet this week was just tons of memes of Trump dying. And this is because he didn't have any press this weekend. He took off this weekend, and he hasn't been seen like in press since like Tuesday, I believe, which is really abnormal for him because usually he loves to be on the TV. He loves to do press. But that's not what's going on right now. And so a lot of people are speculating. There's some people speculating that he's having like mini strokes because I guess the way he's walking. But this has been, Trump did not play golf. Yeah, that's what everyone's saying. Everyone's saying that he did not play golf. But so this took over the internet over the weekend. And so they posted these pictures of Trump that was like, they honestly didn't help the allegations because he looks crazy. But everyone's like, he didn't even play golf. You just saw him getting out of the motorcade. We're going to look at those pictures in a second. But yeah, so here is, let's get into this video about the Where is Trump trending online this weekend.
Regarding the whereabouts of President Donald Trump, the White House saying he is completely fine. Take a look right here at what I'm talking about. This shows the trending topics there on Twitter or X. Now,
I love that, like, below Where is Trump, it's no one mourns the wicked. That's actually really funny. That's very funny. I mean, if it would have happened over this weekend, I would have gone live immediately. Okay.
For the last several hours, there have been several variations of hashtag Where is Trump. The reasoning is that the president is normally in front of the cameras near daily, making some kind of remarks and taking questions from reporters.
Yes.
His last real public appearance was a televised 3-hour meeting with his cabinet. We showed that to you here on Live Now from Fox. That was on Tuesday. For some, his
it was on Tuesday. The last time he's had like a press conference or answered questions was on Tuesday, which is very abnormal for him, which is not like him. At all. And so everyone is like, wait, what is happening right now? Like, is he dying? What is going on? And this also is happening after JD Vance said that first he was like, yeah, Trump's health is fine, but if something happens, I am prepared to take over. Which is like an ominous thing to say. Like, why would you say that? Like, honestly, I think JD Vance is like vying for Trump's seat. He is He is not a loyal one. Well, he'll be loyal to get the power, but really, yeah, no, he wants to be president, which is a terrifying thing. I don't think JD Vance being president is going to be a good thing. Let me just be clear. But yeah. It's a wild thing to post about your boss, essentially.
Official post last night about the appeals court ruling on tariffs was enough to calm the chatter, while others on social media expressed different conspiracy theories that it could have been a member of his staff who was posting. Well, this morning, take a look as Barack Ravid over at Axios posted a short time ago on social media, clearing up any rumors saying that he has talked with those in the know and President Trump is just fine. Here is Ravid's post right there, simply saying, quote, "A U.S. official tells me Trump is okay. We'll play golf later this morning." Now, he did also post this one just a short time later, saying a U.S. official does tell me here that the White House pool report shows pool photog snaps pic of POTUS in white polo, red MAGA hat, black pants. POTUS's motorcade began rolling at 8:45 a.m. So again, clearing up those rumors that are circulating all over social media.
But those pictures honestly made it worse because he looks crazy. And again, we're going to go through an article that has those pictures, but he looks crazy in these new pictures. Like, he looks like he's out of it. He looks like he doesn't know where he is. And yeah, you're right. Like, they never showed him playing golf, and apparently he hasn't played golf in a while. They just showed him getting out of his motorcade and going into the place, but they never showed him playing golf. So everyone's just like, everyone has all these theories and everyone is speculating about what is going on with him right now because yeah because this is abnormal behavior for him. Barron finally did it. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Well, now back to that Truth Social post from the president. A U.S. appeals court ruling Friday that most of President Trump's tariffs.
They always take a picture of him golfing. True. So it is suspect that he's not golfing. I think it's also suspect that he hasn't talked to like the news station since Tuesday. And Tuesday is when he was hiding his hand because of the bruise that he has on his hand. And so it's been a minute since he's talked to the media, which again is not normal. And then I just stopped this and I was laughing because his truths are just always so ridiculous. Like, they're so insane. Like all of his like caps, and then he's just like, look how long this is. Look how long this is. Like, why would someone read all of that?
Are illegal, undercutting his use of those tariffs as a key international.
Okay, what does it say? All tariffs are okay. So because there was a ruling that all of the tariffs that Donald Trump has done are illegal, which of course they are. But it says all tariffs are still in effect. Today, a highly partisan appeals court incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed, but they know the United States of America will win in the end. If these tariffs ever went away, it would be a total disaster for the country. Not true. There are like 50% tariffs on India right now, and that's why they were meeting with China and Russia. Like, what are you saying? Like, what is happening right now? Like, that is not true. Okay. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong. The USA will no longer tolerate enormous trade deficits and unfair tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers imposed by other countries, friend or foe, that undermine our manufacturers, farmers, and everyone else. If allowed to stand, this decision would literally destroy the United States of America. Oh my God. At the start of this Labor Day weekend, we should remember that all tariffs are the best tool to help workers. Oh, do you know what's really funny? He also didn't he make a truth that said something about how we should get rid of these silly holidays like Labor Day? And we're gonna watch later in the politics and context in our learning section. We're gonna talk about the history of Labor Day. But Donald Trump literally was saying that we should get rid of holidays like Labor Day. And so wild that he's saying this is what's good for workers. No, it's not. No, it's actually not. Like, it's really not good for workers, and the tariffs are causing lots of problems. And so this is just like Not true.
Economic policy tool. The court did allow the tariffs to remain in place through October 14th to give the Trump administration a chance to file an appeal with the Supreme Court. Here,
Oh no, this is what I'm saying. They keep doing this, and then they're gonna appeal everything to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is just going to rule with them. Like, it's crazy. This is crazy.
is what Trump wrote late yesterday in response to that ruling. You see it right there on your screen. I'm going to take the banner down so you can read it a little bit further. But that says, quote, all tariffs are still in effect. Today, a highly partisan appeals court incorrectly said that our tariffs should be removed, but they know the United States of America will win in the end. If these tariffs ever went away, it would be a total disaster for the country. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong.
Dude, there are already companies like Walmart and stuff coming out and saying that like their prices are going to go up. Like, there's so many companies saying, hey, our prices are going up, just let you know. Like, our prices are going to go up because of this. Like, we're not going to take this hit. So he's like wrong. He's just completely wrong. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's been obsessed with tariffs for like decades, and he has no idea what he's talking about. And okay, yeah, he doesn't understand that deficits are not always bad. Yes, he thinks that because we trade, like because we get more from one country than they get from us, that's somehow a deficit and they're somehow screwing us, which is not true. Some smaller countries do not consume as much because they do not have the money to consume as much, and so they do not get as much from us as we get from them. That, like, that's just the way it is. Like, this is so insane. Yeah, the price did go up here in Cali. Well, yeah, and apparently, like, I think like Walmart and some other like grocery stores are saying that like prices could change week to week. Like, they're not gonna, like, it's not just gonna stay the same. Like, they can change like week to week depending on what's going on, because everything is so unstable that they don't know what to put their prices at, so they're just gonna change it week to week. Also, the value of the dollar has gone down, and so there's lots of different problems brewing. So he's just wrong. Like, he has no idea what he's talking about, and he's obsessed with tariffs for some crazy reason. Like, he has been obsessed with tariffs since like the 80s and 90s, and it's just like insane that now we have to live through his delusional fantasy. Yes. Oh God.
Wrong. The USA will no longer tolerate enormous trade deficits and unfair tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers imposed by other countries, friend or foe, that undermine our manufacturers, farmers, and everyone else. If allowed to stand, this decision would literally destroy the United States of America. At the start of this Labor Day weekend, we should all remember that tariffs are the best tool to help our workers and support companies that produce.
That is not true. That is not true at all. If he were to do it like targeted on like segments, so like, let's say if we actually cared about the environment and wanted to do green energy and actually wanted to invest in something like that, because that's what we should invest in. Anyway, that is the future, but of course we're not going to do that. But anyway, let's say we wanted to get into that. We wanted to get into that industry. What we would do is we would tariff specific parts of that industry, and then we would invest, we would spend money and invest in manufacturing those things here at home and creating plants and factories to manufacture that here at home. But you would do it by industry. You wouldn't just blanket tariff a country, because that is ridiculous and is only going to cause shit to hit the fan. And it's only going to cause all of these other countries to go to different places like China, which is why they had that meeting today. And like, this is crazy that he is so dead set on this. Like, this is insane. And like, inflation hasn't gone down. Actually, I think it just went up. So why are we even pretending like this is working? And why is the judge saying, well, it can stay in place? Why can they stay in place? Because if he appeals to the Supreme Court, they're going to let him do it anyway. So why can't you just give us some just relief for like a month or so? I don't know, however long it takes them to appeal. But I mean, it's nonsensical, really. It's nonsensical. His whole reasoning behind tariffs is just nonsensical.
Great made in America products. For many years, tariffs were allowed to be used against us by our uncaring and unwise politicians. Now, With the help of the United States Supreme Court, we will use them to benefit our nation.
Exactly. This is what's going to happen with all these different court cases. They're just going to keep appealing until they get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is just going to do whatever Trump wants. I will no longer tolerate my trade deficit with Five Guys. Yeah, that's like the whole trade deficit thing is like if you go to a grocery store and you buy groceries, like the grocery store is not in like a trade deficit with you. Like the grocery store does not need to now buy something from you because you bought something from the grocery store. Like it's so stupid. And some products are just not carried. Yeah, there are tons of products that we just cannot make in this country. Also, there's tons of products that go between like here in Canada and other places, and then they may get assembled here, but not all the parts are made here. And some of it may get assembled in Canada and then sent back here and then finished here. And so, like at that point, it's nonsensical. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like this is just so dumb. He thinks he's like a king putting a squeeze on little countries. Yeah, I do think I think a lot of it is also just like he thinks that it makes him look like a strong man when he does this and he tries to like manipulate other countries. But really it just makes him look unstable. And so now people are going to go to a different country that's more stable than us, which is going to be China. Which I mean, I have no issue. There are issues with China, but like I do think China is a much more affordable place to live, and they do a lot more for their citizens than the United States does. But it's just a fact. Like if we continue to be such an unstable country, then yeah, of course other countries are going to go somewhere else and get their goods from somewhere else. Of course they are. Of course they're going to trade with different countries. Why would they continue working with us when we have this madman in charge? Like what? Little countries like China and Canada. Yeah, you're right. No, they do it to all different countries, but I do think smaller countries that can't, like, I do think he does have that power. He just want to have that like power dynamic over the little ones too, you know? I don't know. But I think he just wants to be a strong man, and he just wants to try to intimidate all these other countries and manipulate them into doing what he wants them to do. I mean, you know, there's some politicians that are, you know, going along with him, but I think for the most part, a lot of countries are going to just like stop trading with us as much, personally.
And make America rich, strong, and powerful again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Taking a live look over the White House once again as we continue to cover all of this. Officials saying that President
Also, he's been tweeting a lot this weekend after all the speculation, because he wasn't tweeting for a while or truthing or whatever. And then there were like tons of truths happening in such a short span of time. And none of them at the end of it said, thank you for attention to this matter. And so a lot of people are saying that it's someone else running his social media right now. Going again down the conspiracy, theory or you know, rabbit hole of, is he alive? Are they covering something? What's going on? Is his health really that bad that he needs someone else to do his social media for him? Because again, the ones he's been posting lately have not been saying thank you for your attention to this matter, which he seems to put after every single truth now. All right. Okay, I have another video about this. Okay, is Trump dead? Rumors debunked. President Donald Trump on Saturday was photographed leaving for his golf course in Virginia, dispelling the unfound rumors spread on social media that Trump had died. Trump seen with his granddaughter. Okay, so this is it. Oh, sorry, I keep moving myself. That's it. That's the picture of him with his granddaughter getting out of it. Okay. Trump's most recent public appearance came Wednesday as he headed to a televised cabinet meeting and was previously seen golfing earlier in the week. Yet Trump also remained active online while periodically posting on Truth Social. All right, okay. that video is not fun. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the Trump article and look closer at these pictures and some of the memes that were said online, because I thought that would be fun. Okay, so Trump is alive with golf outing and rapid social media posts. So this is one of the pictures of him getting out of his motorcade. President Donald Trump, 79, appeared at the Trump National Golf Club in Virginia on Saturday, ending a widespread online speculation that he had died. He was accompanied by his granddaughter, and photos showed him leaving the White House before heading to the course. The rumors gained traction after Trump missed several scheduled public appearances, and observers noted bruising and swelling on his hands and ankles. Cankles, like the I've had it ladies like to say. He has cankles. Reportedly from circulation disorder. Vice President J.D. Vance comments about being ready to assume the presidency added to the speculation. Despite the frenzy, Trump remained active behind the scenes, posting on Truth Social and giving interviews. In response to the rumors, Trump shared and reposted a series of AI-generated images and videos on Truth Social. They depicted him in dramatic roles, including a... Wait, I did not know this happened. Wait, does this show these... Does this show them? Wait, does it show the videos? Wait. Okay, in response to the rumors, Trump shared and reposted a series of AI-generated images and videos on Truth Social. They depicted him in dramatic roles, including as a police officer and SWAT team member, with messages such as, "The world will soon understand, nothing can stop what is coming." That is terrifying and ominous, but it's also really funny that he keeps reposting this AI slop. One video showed his life from infancy to president, set to the song Forever Young by Alphaville. Other posts included a deep fake of him singing Journey's Don't Stop Believing, and reposts of articles praising his political influence while criticizing figures such as Lisa Cook and Gavin Newsom. Do you know what's funny? Is him reposting all of this actually, again, does not make me think that his health is good. It makes me feel like he's losing it. I think he's been losing it for a bit, but okay, I guess this is one of the pictures of him as a Oh my god, this is so dumb. Okay, this is one of the pictures he reposted. Okay, this is Commander-in-Chief, more like Commander in Action, dude. I love how all of these AI images of Trump, all these stuff about Trump, they always have him in like the SWAT gear and like the police officer, and he's like ribbed, and I'm just like, do you really see him as that? Like, do you really, when you think of Trump, is this what you see? Because he obviously is not in good health. Like, obviously, like it's obvious. And so how do you, how do you create something like this and really like believe it? You know, like how, it's just so insane to me. I'm like, bro, he's not even golfing. He didn't even golf in that picture. He didn't even golf this weekend. Like, what makes you think he's gonna be out here in a SWAT team? Like, oh, come on, man. Oh God. Okay, this is the video. We're not gonna watch that stupid video. But apparently it's a video of him. Is that even really him as a baby? Come on. Trump's evolution. Okay, no, I'm not watching that. Okay, this is the one that's like this. This is the ominous one that he reposted. The world will soon understand. Nothing can stop what is coming. What does that mean? What does that mean? And then he has like the little Q thing in his hand. Q plus. It's psychotic. This is psychotic. What does this mean? What does this mean? I mean, what the fuck? Oh my god, let's see if there's anything else. No, this is still his evolution. I'm not watching that. Okay, yeah, alright. That was insane. Well, apparently those are the things he was reposting this week on True Social, which doesn't give me any more confidence in him whatsoever. They really think they're like that. Honestly. Oh my god, this is so silly. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. California Gavin Newsom mocked Trump in a video showing him falling golfing and interactingly awkwardly with animals, such as Reba McEntire's I'm a Survivor. The clips highlighted the bruises on Trump's hand, fueling speculation about his health following a chronic venous insufficiency diagnosis. The White House said that the bruises were caused by frequent handshakes and aspirin use. And Trump's former doctor said that he remains in good health, which I don't believe. See, and then this is the bruise. So this is the bruise that they were talking about. He had this huge bruise on his hand last week, and he was trying to hide it, but he didn't do a very good job. Trump also tied spirituality to his campaign. A recent Super PAC email said, "Friend, I want to try to get into heaven." I'm sorry, that was the other thing that I forgot. He's been saying that, like, consistently lately, and apparently he sent out an email saying that. He sent out an email saying, "Friend, I want to try to get to heaven." Why does he keep saying that? Oh my god. Like, I don't think Trump has, well, I don't know, like, that's the thing. Like, do you think Trump actually has a conscience? Because, like, I kind of don't, but it's like maybe he's like fearing death, and so he's like, oh shit, what do I do now? What do I do now that I've been an asshole my whole life? Citing his desire to end the Russia-Ukraine war to improve his afterlife prospects. Like, this is the world we are living in. This is the country we are living in, where our president is sending out emails saying that he wants the war to stop, not for whatever, not for, like, you know, people are dying. I mean, he said that, but I mean, obviously he's like, whatever. Not because people are dying, not because, like, not because we want to stop spending all our money on weapons manufacturers. No, because he wants to try to get into heaven. He wants to try to get into heaven. That's why he wants to stop the war, because he wants to get into heaven. Like, how ridiculous. How ridiculous. It's just so insane. Okay, despite his $6.1 billion fortune, the email solicited $15 donations to sustain his political movement. Does he still? Why? He doesn't need any money. The amount of money he's made in this presidency is actually insane. No, he's fearing hell 100%. He should be fearing hell. He really should. Okay, so Donald Trump resurfaced with a golf photo amid health rumors, but sleuths and media claim the timeline was off. So this is the other thing. So apparently the ones that they showed with his granddaughter getting out of the motorcade, I think were from this weekend, but apparently they kept posting old pictures of him too, which made the speculation worse, because why would you post old pictures of him? Like, that's just like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Everyone's like, is he dead? Is he dying? What's going on? And then you post old pictures of him. Like, what do you think people are gonna think after you do that? Like, that's just so, like, it's ridiculous. But that's what they did. Because I don't know what they're thinking. Who knows what his administration is ever thinking? Who knows? Okay, so Gruden's Instagram at the AP archives confirmed the picture President Trump posted is over a week old. Look at the matched clothing, time, and date stamps. After several days out of the public eye, President Donald Trump resurfaced online with a photo meant to silence growing rumors about his health, fueled by online speculation about his appearance, including claims of swollen ankles and visible bruises on his hand. On Sunday, August 31st, Trump attempted to quiet these concerns. He posted an image of himself on True Social golfing with former NFL coach Joe Gruden, writing, "Great playing golf with Joe Gruden, a really nice guy and a true character." Comments suggest that the photo may have been from a previous outing, noting similarities to Gruden's August 23rd Instagram post. Trump's golf photos with John Gruden. At a first glance, the post seemed straightforward. Trump appeared to be sitting on a golf cart and shaking hands with Gruden, who wore a Trump-branded hat. However, many people online were quick to suggest that that image wasn't from this week. They matched Gruden's outfit to an August 30th, God, people are wild, an August 23rd Instagram post showing the ex-coach wearing the same outfit, suggesting Trump's True Social account used a photo from the week prior, which again is very sus. And why would you do that in the middle of these allegations? That is dumb to me. Why would you do that? Okay, so here's some of the memes. "Hey guys, it's me, Donald Trump, on my way to play some golf." And they have the Buzz Lightyear. I'm not a okay, here's one. "I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but if you're fighting off increasing rumors that you may have suffered a major medical episode, and to disprove that rumor and provide proof of life, you post a picture of allegedly playing golf with John Gruden today, it would be beneficial to show more." Oh, sorry, I'm so stupid. Okay, it would be beneficial. Okay, it would be... I feel really dumb that I said show more. Okay. Okay, it would be beneficial to post one that wasn't from August 23rd. Gruden's Instagram at the AP archives confirmed that picture the president posted is over a week old. Look at the matched clothing and the time and date stamps. Okay, so we have one picture of Trump leaving for the golf club yesterday and another of him on his way back, pointed out X. No pictures of him playing golf, and he hasn't spoken publicly for 5 days. What is the White House hiding? Honestly, 5 days is such a long time, and if this were Biden, Trump would have been like, "Where's Biden? Where's he hiding? He's in the basement." They were saying that anyway. But it's like, where are you hiding, Trump? You've been gone for 5 days. Where are you? Where are you? Oh man. Despite the scrutiny, some believe the post was some commenting that Trump was at the top of his game and perfectly healthy. Some people are delusional. The people commenting that are delusional. Although the golf outing drew attention, Gruden's presence also reignited controversy. The former Raider coach resigned in 2021 after emails revealed racist, sexist, and homophobic language. Wow, I didn't know that, but no surprise that he's hanging out with Donald Trump. Trump's photo drop came after days of online frenzy, questioning his bruised hand and comparing it to photos of Queen Elizabeth shortly before her death. For much of the past week, folks speculated that he had suffered a medical event or worse. Some shared posts discussing his difficulty walking, bruised hands, and verbal slip-ups as a result of proof of life posts became a recurring demand on X and True Social. I know, all weekend everyone was like, "Where is he? We need we need proof of life. We need to know where he is." It was so funny. And then when they did show the picture of him getting out of the motorcade, when they did post that picture, everyone was so disappointed. Everyone was like, "Man, damn it. Oh my God. Again, though it would be, again, JD Vance would not, I think JD Vance would be a much scarier option. Just saying. Because he is real good friends with Peter Thiel. So let's see. Okay. Wait. So that video of Trump golf that popped up today is old. He still might be missing. Maybe Trump has had a heart attack or similar. We all know when he says something. History tells the reality is very different. The golf course images were AI. Well, I don't know about that, but Donald Trump on his way to the golf course with a video of a limp man being carried along a ceiling high track inside the building. Donald Trump on his way to the golf course. And then I guess he's not stumbling. Donald Trump has been spotted heading to the golf at his resort in Virginia. It's fine. Everything is fine. Still not a single verifiable video or picture of Trump playing golf these last 2 days, and he hasn't said a word to a camera in almost a week, which is literally a record for him. All while Trump Social pushing out old pictures and weird, totally not Trump written posts. Oh man, that was great. This was fun. This was fun. It's fun. After all the craziness and after all the bullshit, like, it is really fun to just kind of like speculate and laugh. Because he's such a horrible person. So it is kind of fun to laugh about this. But he is alive. I do think he's having health problems though, because I don't think that they would have canceled all of these public appearances if he wasn't. And those pictures, like, here, let me find those pictures, because I think they showed it on the last one, but Trump alive. Images. Yeah, so like, here's one of the pictures right here. Here's one of the pictures right here. This is, if you like, apparently I think this is an old one, but this picture right here, he looks horrible. Like, he looks so bad. And this is the picture. He looks so bad. Like, he looks so bad. And he just looks like he doesn't know where he's going. Like, it's kind of insane. Like, it's kind of insane. He looks like he doesn't know where he's going. He looks like he's lost. So I definitely think that there's something going on with him. I don't know what it is, but I definitely think that there's something going on with him. And, yeah. Yeah, there's something crazy going on. And of course, I don't think they're going to tell us. They're not going to be honest with us. But I don't think he did anything today either. I don't think he said anything today, and it's Labor Day, and I don't think he's had like a speech or talked to anyone today. So very strange that he still hasn't had a press conference. I'm interested in seeing when he's going to end up actually having a press conference. I think other GOP stand up to JD, but not Trump. Is Trump base, not JD's? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I don't think the base would be as open to JD Vance, which 1000%. But I do think that, again, he is really close with Peter Thiel, so I'm worried about how that would turn out. Yes. Yes, I'm worried about that. But I do think it's wild. I do think it's wild that he still hasn't done anything. Like, today he didn't do anything, so I don't really know what's going on. If Trump dies, does this situation get better or worse? I think worse, actually. Yeah, I think worse, because I think, like, there are like the Stephen Millers and the Peter Thiels and stuff behind all of this. And so I do think that if that happens, the authoritarianism and like the National Guard and stuff going to different cities, I think, is going to ramp up, because at that point I don't think they're going to have the perceived power anymore, because, with Trump, a lot of his base, they can just kind of excuse away almost anything that he does, but with JD Vance, I don't think it would be like that. And so I think it would be hard for them to assert control over everyone. So I think that it would get more authoritarian. And of course, with Peter Thiel, they can do all of that. Peter Thiel's like comic book villain type shit. Like, he is crazy. He is a villain. He's like a sci-fi villain. So I don't know. I don't know what would happen. Either way, I'm a little scared for the future, but this was a fun thing that happened over the weekend. And social media was actually kind of fun for once in the last like a week or whatever. It's been so freaking toxic. So at least that was fun. And we're gonna keep up to date on this, so we'll see what happens. I'll try to keep up to date on his health, and let's see, when do we all think he's gonna do a press conference next? Because he didn't do any questions, he didn't talk to the press today, so when do we think he's gonna talk to the press next? Let's see, I'm gonna guess maybe like, I don't know, maybe like Wednesday or Thursday. What if he doesn't talk to the press at all this week? That would be crazy. Yeah, I mean, maybe like Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or something. I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see when he's gonna talk to the press next. I hope never. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna happen at some point, but I'm just interested to see I'm interested to see what they have up their sleeve. Um, all right, so now we are going to talk about Chicago and Kristi Noem basically like threatening Chicago and Brandon Johnson's new executive order going against Trump and the National Guard coming to Chicago. So let's get into that. All right.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has signed an executive order to push back against the possible deployment of National Guard troops to the city. He says he received credible reports of possible military activity coming soon. The new Protecting Chicago initiative aims to protect people's constitutional rights. Johnson says the city's police will stay under local control, won't wear masks, and won't take part in any immigration enforcement with the military. The Chicago Mayor.
All right, yes. So my goatee's gonna be that cool one day. Noem is a psychopath. She really is. We're gonna watch a video of her in a second. But so Brandon Johnson, he actually signed an executive order. Let's see if I can talk today. An executive order to basically, there's a few more details, and we're going to watch another video about more details about the executive order. But basically, the gist of it was that their local police are not going to work with the National Guard. They're not going to work with them. And so that's why Noem is now coming out being like almost threatening them. And there are plans to go to Chicago. They haven't sent them yet, but there are like, they have talked about the plans. They reached out to like the Marines there to try to get help with those plans. So this is something that they're actively trying to do. Again, this would be illegal. They're technically allowed to do it in DC because it is not its own state. Excuse me. But they're only supposed to be there for 30 days. And so I don't know how long it's been now, but he also over the weekend said that DC is not a crime-free zone. Which I don't think is true because wasn't there like a murder or something last weekend? It's just so insane. It's just so insane. And it doesn't matter. There should not be National Guard there. It's ridiculous that the National Guard is there. But it's just stupid that the National Guard is there. But it doesn't matter. He's saying it's a crime-free zone. All because the National Guard is there. That's not true. It has not been crime-free. He's saying that he's the reason crime is down. That is not true. It's like crime is down. It's not because of the National Guard being there. And the reason that maybe it's like not as much in these last few weeks is probably because people are scared to leave their houses. But, whatever. Anyway, we're going to go deeper into this executive order that Brandon Johnson signed.
Twist today in the escalating battle between the White House and Mayor Brandon Johnson over federal intervention here in Chicago. Johnson today signing a wide-ranging executive order that, among other things, demands that ICE agents identify themselves and not wear masks if they conduct sweeping.
I love that. See, that was a part of it. It was ICE agents not to wear masks because the National Guard that they've been like when they deployed them to LA, they were actually helping ICE kidnap people, and they were protecting ICE, which is crazy, which is just like psychotic. But I'm glad that he told them that they can't wear masks. So if you're ICE, you cannot wear masks as you're kidnapping people. So
immigration raids here in the city. But some say the executive order is more symbolic than realistic. Fox 32's Gabriella Primus is live now with more. Gabriella.
Dane, yeah, those that we spoke to said that it is a first of its kind order that Johnson signed earlier today. Now, this order outlined what he says are specific guidelines for a possible upcoming visit from federal agents and troops to the city of Chicago.
We have received credible reports that we have days, not weeks, before our city sees some type of militarized activity by the federal government.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says his office is taking immediate action after what they say are credible reports that Chicago could see deployment of federal agents as soon as Friday.
Protecting Chicago will ensure that every
That is terrifying. That is terrifying. Oh my God.
Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared.
Johnson says he wants not only local agents to follow city requirements, but also federal agents.
As it ensures that there's a clear distinction between our local police department and federal agents. It gives a very clear directive, but it also gives very specific directives to our law department to make specific FOIA requests so that if there's any immigration enforcement that's happening in our city, we have to know about it.
The mayor's executive order is trying to get support and help and rally the troops behind him, so to speak, in Chicago. It has almost no legal effect whatsoever. So the claim that the federal officers should wear body cameras and not masks and identify themselves, wonderful, except he doesn't control the federal officers.
Harold Krent is a professor at Chicago Kent College of Law. He says Johnson is making a strong stand with Chicago, but it will have no partial effect if Trump sends troops or immigration agents here. Krent says it's hard to...
I mean, I get that. Like, he can't control ICE wearing, masks or anything. But hopefully, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of him. I think it's great that he's at least doing something and he's at least pushing back a bit. I do think it's great that he's saying that their local police are not going to work with the National Guard. Which I think most blue cities and blue states have said that, like, their local police are not going to work with them. They're not going to work with them when it comes to ICE. They're not going to work with these National Guard or these ICE agents. And so I think that's a good thing, because that hinders them a bit, which is why, people like Katrina continue to try to go after them, because they want to try to hinder them a bit. Anything that can hinder this process in any way, anything that can slow down this process, anything that can put a wrench in the gears, I think is good, and just slow it down a bit. So that way, like, I don't know, just like anything that can make this harder for the Trump administration to accomplish, I think is a good thing. So I think it's good that they're fighting back, and like him and JB Pritzker have been like threatening Trump back, and I think that's a good thing. And I think it's good that they're standing strong, because the DC mayor has been like kind of like, she's been going back and forth. She's been like wavering back and forth. I'm like, well, maybe this is a good thing, and it's like, okay, stop. It's not, but okay, like, sure, let's be wishy-washy on fascism. All right. But no, they have, like, him and JB Pritzker have really been pushing back, and so I think that's a good thing. Anything to put a wrench in the gears, I think is good. Johnson, need to get the unmask the message back in the news, legal or not. Exactly. And I think that's the point. It's also giving a counter narrative of they should not be wearing masks. Like, why are these agents wearing masks? There have been people who have pretended to be ICE agents, pretended to be police officers and all these things, that are going out and they're kidnapping people and they're hurting people. And it's because we are allowing them to wear masks. It's because we are allowing them to go around and brutalize people and kidnap them, all while we don't know who they are. And that is dangerous. That is so dangerous. And yet we've kind of forgotten and we've kind of stopped talking about it as much. So I think you're right. It's good. It's good that he's putting this back in the media, that he's putting this back as a counter narrative, because this is crazy that they're still able to wear masks. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Yes, and non-cooperation, 100%. I think non-cooperation is great. Again, anything to hinder them, anything to slow them down, I think is great. The mayor of DC fears for her budget. Yeah, you're right. She probably does. You're right. But I still think, like, I don't know. I feel like this is such an important moment right now. Sending troops into these cities, I think, is such a overreach, and it's such it's a sign of authoritarianism. And so I think being wishy-washy on that is just like frustrating, because this is a defining moment in our country, and if we do not push back, don't know what else is going to happen. You know, like, this is the time to push back. Like, this is the time to resist. You're right. Is Janine Pirro doing anything? No. She's just yelling that the sandwich guy didn't get charged. She's mad because the sandwich guy wasn't charged for a felony, which is insane.
Guess what Trump is going to do in the coming weeks.
It seems to have changed his focus from just doing regular crime and law enforcement the way he did in D.C. to focusing more on immigration roundup. It's probably a smart move because the administration is on much sounder legal footing by sending in troops to help ICE officials.
It's not worth it.
But it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Why are we sending, like, National Guard in? Like, we're going to, the next segment is going to be learning about Labor Day. And they sent the National Guard into, like, strikes and stuff. And sending the National Guard to go against your citizens is not good. We were just talking about Katrina. At Katrina, there were National Guard people, like, they were told to, like, shoot people if they were looting. Like, this is good. Oh, also in the Katrina thing, in the Katrina documentary, the National Guard, they were talking about how most of them were deployed in Afghanistan at that time and were not there to help. And so, again, it's just, I feel like the parallels are kind of striking of all of these National Guards are going to be deployed to these different cities, but they're going to be deployed to help ICE agents and not to help with actual disasters, not actual, like, natural disasters. But it doesn't matter. Sending in National Guard, no matter what it is not okay. and going against your own citizens, it's like, this is fascism. And so to be like, oh, well, they have a better legal footing. Like, no, this is not, like, let's stop trying to normalize this shit. Like, stop. This is crazy.
The paper it's printed on. In my opinion.
Nick Sposato is the alderman for the 38th Ward. He says there's a lot of fear-mongering going on in the city. He says if relationships were stronger, we'd be in a better place.
We're fighting back with them instead of saying, Mr. President, let's sit down. Let's work this out. We want you to get rid of criminals.
What the hell? No, crime also has been down in Chicago. And everyone wants to talk about, like, the shootings. And yes, there are shootings. Listen, I live in St. Louis. I understand there are shootings here too. Okay. But all in all, the crime has been down. And Brandon Johnson has been, he has been investing in more community services and community groups to help people who are in poverty, or to help kids to have after school programs so they don't have to go into that kind of life if they're bored or if they have nothing to do. And so, like, I think education and resources is the answer, but nobody wants to do that. And, like, Janine Pirro, talking about Janine Pirro, someone actually asked her at a press conference recently, like, are you doing anything to prohibit crime? Like, are you going to try to fix the root of the problem with crime, so there is no crime, so you don't have to keep doing this? And she, like, was dumbfounded by the question and did, like, a pause for a second and was like, well, I'm worried about the criminals and we need to get rid of the criminals. And, like, she just couldn't even fathom that you would want to treat human beings like human beings and actually give them a chance, to give them resources and try to help people. Instead, she's just like, no, we need to crack down. We need to make sure 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds are tried as adults and da-da-da. Like, she's just, like, foaming at the mouth. She's crazy. She's psychotic. But it's like, this is a problem. And this is the problem, is that they want to take this force and they want to take the National Guard and sick them on citizens. Criminals or not, you should not be sicking the National Guard on citizens. And I also don't think using that kind of force is going to help with crime, because statistically it does not. Statistically, it makes it worse. That's why a lot of these communities that are over, like, that are, you know, they have crime, are over policed. They are over policed, and they are constantly being just, like, harassed by police officers. And so there are so many issues and there's so many reasons why crime happens, but a lot of it does stem from poverty and not having enough resources in those communities. And a lot of it is also delegated. Everyone thinks, oh, it's just these blue cities. It's just, oh, these blue states. But that's not true. There's a lot of crime in rural areas as well. We just don't talk about them as much. And so that's why I hate it whenever I watch crime documentaries and they're always like, everyone says it could never happen here. If you say that in every crime like, God, it drives me insane. Every single crime documentary, no one would think it would happen here. Well, obviously you say that in every crime documentary, so obviously it does happen here. Obviously it happens here quite a bit because this is how every crime documentary starts. No one thought it could happen here. Okay, well, it's been happening there. Like, what are you saying? Like, it's so funny because, like, I have these conversations with people here in St. Louis, too, because everyone thinks that the county is, like, so much safer. There are shootings in the county. There's crime in the county, but no one talks about it like it's some, like, moral failure. No one talks about it like, oh, it's just the community. No, because they're white people. And so it's just, like, crazy how much, how racist how racist all of this is. This whole narrative is how racist it is, but also how we demonize cities and we think that these cities are just so crime ridden, but then we totally don't even look at like counties or rural areas that also have crime. We act like they're just void of crime, which is not true. So it's just stupid. It's just stupid. It drives me crazy. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves in life is everyone thinking that cities are just some like crime-ridden hellholes, which is just not true. It's not true at all. I've been to Chicago. I've been to New York. I've been to New Orleans. I went to New Orleans alone, and it's one of my favorite trips. It's a wonderful city. It's an amazing city. I went there alone. It was great. I met a friend. It was awesome. Like, I don't know. It's just a lot of fear mongering, I think. And to sit here and try to excuse the National Guard being sent there specifically to go against the citizens, which is fascism, is crazy. To try to excuse that and act like that's going to help this situation. It's just a wild thing to do.
Now, it is unclear what impact Johnson's executive order would have if federal agents and troops were sent to the city. We'll keep you updated. Gabriela Primus, Fox 32 Chicago.
I thank you, Gabriela. And in a statement to Fox 32 Chicago, White House spokesperson tonight said, quote, if Democrats focused on fixing crime in their own cities instead of doing publicity stunts to criticize the president, their communities would be much safer.
It's so ridiculous. And that's the other thing. Everyone, because there's like shootings and stuff in Chicago, everyone wants to talk about, oh, you guys want to say the guns, but Illinois has some of the strictest gun laws. Chicago is 4 hours away from St. Louis. Chicago is 4 hours away from St. Louis. In Missouri, we do not have lots of regulations on guns. And so it is very easy for people to be able to drive 4 hours or take an Amtrak or whatever. And there's actually, and even if you're closer, even if you're like in the Belleville area or something like that, there's the metro that you can take to St. Louis. Like, it's insane to me that everyone wants to talk about that because Missouri's right there, man. We're right there. We're right next to Illinois, okay? They can go right over there and they can get some from Missouri because our gun laws are not that great. We don't have a lot of regulations. And so that point is just dumb to me. It's always dumb to me. We're like, oh, well, Illinois has a lot of gun regulations. Yeah, and there's red states surrounding it. So what does that do? Like, what does that matter? They can just go to the next state and come back. Missouri is not that far from Chicago. So yeah, I don't know. It's just this whole like trying to normalize National Guard coming into our cities is crazy. It's crazy and it's dangerous. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, well, you said send the National Guard to crime-ridden red cities. Well, see, the problem is I'm actually worried about St. Louis a lot because our governor said that they're gonna like have more FBI come here to help with crime, and I'm a little confused as to what that's going to do. I don't know. I'm a little scared that they're just going to send all these FBI agents here. Why are we doing this? Like, why are you sending them here? So I think that, like, it's going to happen in red states and red cities. It's just not going to be, the governors are going to do it more than likely, or the governors are going to initiate it. And it's not going to be like Trump's going to initiate a thing. It's like going to be our governors, which my governor has already like started doing. So who knows, man? Who knows? Okay, let's get to Noem. Let's get to Kristi Noem and her crazy ass.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says immigration enforcement operations will expand in Chicago. She joined CBS's Face the Nation yesterday to talk more about sending additional resources to that city.
Well, we've already had ongoing operations with ICE in Chicago and throughout Illinois and other states, making sure that we're upholding our laws. But we do intend to add more resources to those operations.
And CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro joins me now with more on this. Aaron, what would these ICE operations really entail? What are they going to be doing there on the ground? And how are local officials there reacting to this?
Yeah, Chanel, there have been immigration activity in enforcement, arrests in Chicago throughout the Trump administration. But how this administration is now portraying what could happen as soon as this week is a bigger expansion. Sources have told CBS News that it could look more so like it did in Los Angeles earlier this year, where you saw images of more agents, tactical gear, armored vehicles. And in that case, when the National Guard were sent in, they were there to protect those federal immigration agents and federal buildings. Now, the White House Secretary...
Look at those pictures. Like, I'm glad they're showing pictures, because, like, that woman, she was not a threat to them. She was not a threat to them, and they're surrounding her and manhandling her. It just, God. It's just so dystopian.
Secretary Noem did not say outright the National Guard would be being sent for these immigration enforcement expansion. And Secretary Noem said, quote, nothing is off the table, and said the National Guard is, quote, in terms of sending them in, that decision is up to President Trump. Sources have also said that whatever that could look like this week will be different than the president's call for the National Guard to go in and clean up crime in Chicago. But our colleague Ed O'Keefe talked to the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, about this. Take a listen to what he had to say.
We hope that they don't send any troops along with ICE. And if they do, they'll be in court pretty quickly because that is illegal. Posse Comitatus does not allow U.S. troops into U.S. cities to do, to fight crime.
Damn right. And so that's why that other guy who was on the video we just watched, that other guy who was like, well, they have a more legal standing if they come with ICE. F you, man. No, this is illegal. They are not allowed to have National Guard come out and go against their own citizens. That is not what they're supposed to do, okay? That is illegal. And I'm glad J.B. Pritzker is like, no, we're going to take him to court. Like, fuck that. Like this is illegal. We're going to take them to court.
To be involved in law enforcement. That's not their job.
Exactly.
It's also worth noting that whatever we see in Chicago this week potentially is different than what we've seen in Washington, D.C. this past month, just given that the federal government, the executive branch, has unique control over the District of Columbia.
Okay, interesting. Aaron, also want to ask you about another headline that we're following today. President Trump saying he will sign an executive order essentially mandating voter IDs. So explain to us what this means. How is this going to work?
I forgot about this, but we'll listen to this because it is interesting and scary. And all of these, he keeps putting in all of these different executive orders and laws around voting and around elections. And this is what I'm saying. Like, it may not be like the the blue MAGA conspiracy of like Elon hacking the voter machines. I don't think that happened. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think that he's going to slowly erode who can vote. And then he's going to send National Guard out to all these different blue cities. And that's how he's going to suppress the vote. That's how he is going to try to suppress the vote for the midterm. And who knows what's going to happen in the next presidential election and what's going to happen by that point. But I do think that's what's going to happen with the midterms. And so I do think this is something. So we are going to listen to this, because I do think this is scary, and I do think it's important to talk about, because the midterms are coming and everyone's acting like it's going to be normal, and I'm worried that it will not.
Yeah, in that post, he said that he would have an executive order to mandate voter ID. He also said that he would work to eliminate mail ballots and make it strictly that paper ballots only.
Okay, so it says voter ID must be a part of every single vote. No exceptions, exclamation point. I will be doing an executive order to that end, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. God. His tweets are just so unserious. Like this is a very serious thing, but like the way he tweets or truths or whatever is just so unserious and so ridiculous. Okay. Also, no mail-in voting except for those that are very ill and far away military. Use paper ballots only. President DJT. Wait, so this was this weekend. And see, usually he says, thank you for your attention to this matter. And he did not say that. So this is actually one of the tweets that were in question this weekend because he didn't put thank you for your attention to this matter. Anyway. Just insane.
Only should be used. Trump has said in early
We live in an insane country, honestly. Like, Jesus Christ.
August that a team of lawyers have been prepping an executive order like this for sweeping kind of requirements for voting. In one radio interview, he said that getting rid of mail-in ballots in particular is, quote, bigger than anything we can do as a Republican Party. The big legal hurdle here is the Constitution and the Elections Clause, which says that there is no explicit power that the president has over state voting laws and that it remains up to the states. There's already a patchwork.
And we just watched a video about that a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, about how a lot of these laws that let you to be able to vote are in your state laws and in your state constitution. And so he legally cannot do this. Not that it matters. Legality doesn't matter anymore in this country for the president, but legally he's not able to do this. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it gets through.
Of states when it comes to voter ID laws. 36 states already have some sort of voter ID or type of identification requirement, but President Trump has targeted Democratic-ran states such as California or New York for not having enough of those strict laws and requirements. In March, Trump has also tried to sign an executive order that requires some sort of proof of citizenship for voters to be able to vote. A judge struck that down earlier this year.
Okay. Yep, because none of this is legal. Not that it matters. Not that it matters. Okay, so yes, that was talking about Chicago and how the National Guard, they might send the National Guard or ICE this weekend or this week. And so we'll definitely keep on top of that. And there have been protests happening. I've been seeing some like plans for protests. So if you're in the Chicago area, you should keep look at that and make sure, go out there or just help out in any way you can. So yeah, because this is serious. Sending the National Guard to Chicago would be insane. So we'll see what happens. All right, so now we're going to get into the last part of our live today. Like I said, today will be a little bit of a shorter day just because it's Labor Day. But we're going to learn about the history of Labor Day, so that'll be fun. So let's get into it. I have 2 little videos, and yeah. Okay.
You hear Labor Day and you think barbecues and end of summer sales, but the holiday's origin is anything but relaxing. It's pretty bloody. Labor Day traces its origins to workers' movements in the 19th century, which came...
What's going to happen on the 11th? I don't know. Did I say I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I just know that I'm a union member and my union didn't say anything about today. Are you serious? Are you serious? That's crazy. What? That's insane. I don't know what's going to happen on the 11th. I don't know, but I know that they're going to try. I know that this week is they were talking about sending National Guard or ICE this week to Chicago. So I'm not sure when. But that's crazy that it's Labor Day and your union didn't say anything about it. It's not a good sign, honestly. Okay, all right, we're going to start over. So this is the true history of Labor Day, by Now This Impact. And so we seem to think of Labor Day, I don't know how it became barbecues and stuff like that, not really sure. But Labor Day has actually a very like they're saying, violent and gruesome history. And so we're going to learn a little bit about that right now.
You hear Labor Day and you think barbecues and end of summer sales, but the holiday's origin is anything but relaxing. It's pretty bloody. Labor Day traces its origins to workers' movements in the 19th century, which came to a head in the 1890s, a decade that was marked by a long depression and stagnating wages for many workers. Sound familiar? The turning point came in the summer of 18...
Sound familiar? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Our wages have been stagnant for how long? Like the federal minimum wage is still like $7.25, which is the most. It's just so insane that people don't realize how crazy that is. The things have gotten so expensive, and our federal minimum wage is still $7.25. Like, what in the world? This is so stupid. It's the unofficial end of the summer. At least here it is. That's why people barbecue before they go back to school. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That does make sense. That makes a lot of sense.
1894, when members of the Pullman Palace Car Company went on strike and the American Railway Union joined in, organizing a nationwide boycott against the railcar manufacturer. The federal government deployed the federal troops to Chicago in response to the strike, leading to violence, riots, and approximately 70 people's deaths. In the
That's insane. See, and I'm worried. I am a little worried about that. Like nowadays, like in modern day, of what that'll look like if they do keep sending the National Guard to all these different cities, and there will be protests. I wonder what that'll look like. 70 people dead is insane. 70 people dead is crazy. That's crazy. But this was also in Chicago, which I think is really interesting. That parallel is really interesting.
Aftermath of the strike, and in an attempt to extend an olive branch to the labor movement, President Grover Cleveland signed legislation designating the first Monday in September as a new federal holiday, Labor Day. But the act wasn't completely benevolent. Part of why the government chose a September holiday was to try and divert worker attention away from May 1st, or May Day.
I didn't know that. Oh my God. See, our government has been like gaslighting us from day one, man. This freaking country, bro. Oh my God. Freedom. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Always trying to make sure the capitalists win. Oh, what freedom. Oh my God. This is crazy.
A pre-existing celebration of workers' rights that leaders felt was too socialist and too militant in nature. Most people don't really dwell on the working class origins of Labor Day, but in 2022, that history actually feels more relevant than ever. Across the country, the U.S. has seen a renewed wave of organizing from workers in many different fields, from major retailers like Amazon to fast food chains like Chipotle and Starbucks to even some digital media companies. So if you find yourself enjoying a much-needed day off on Monday, feel free to fire up some burgers on the grill. Just spare a moment to thank the generations of workers who organized to get you that day off in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, like the reason we have weekends, the reason we have like not everyone, but the reason that you have like breaks and like there's like the tip, the whatever 9 to 5, even though that's not true for everyone. But the reason we have all of that is because of labor unions. And so that's why it's really frustrating when there are people who like don't like labor unions or think that they're bad just because you have to pay dues. When actually they're the only reason that we have they're the only reason we have the regulations we have for workers. And there still should be more. We should try to improve on that, even though we're not. But I do think it's interesting because when I worked for like a sound company and we set up like stages for concerts and stuff, I worked for a non-union company, but I would be like in charge, or I would be working with the union stagehands, and I would always get so frustrated because they would get breaks and I would not. They would get like mandatory lunches and I would not. And I would be like working all the time. I got like little sleep, and they got paid more than me. And I remember being so frustrated because I didn't know and I didn't understand. But now I'm like, good for them. Like I should have gotten breaks. I should have gotten all of that. But because they were in a union, like they got all of that, which is a good thing. And so like, it's funny how my opinion has changed over the years. But I just remember that distinctly because I remember being like, man, how come they can get like brakes and stuff, but I don't, you know? How come they can get all these things, but I don't? And it's because they were in a union that was going to protect them and was going to make sure that their rights are protected as workers, which is really important. Now they want toddlers in factories. I know a lot of red states, I think, isn't it like Arkansas? A lot of red states are starting to get rid of some of the child labor laws, which is really terrifying. It's really terrifying when you think about where that might go. There was a refinery strike in New Jersey in 1951, banned the mayor of Bayonne, called in police to break the strike, and he was also employed by the refinery company as a lawyer. That's so messed up. That's so messed up. Never look at the boss, look at the coworker, LOL. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I was young, so I didn't really understand, but and now I look back and I'm like, no, good for them. I'm glad that they joined. I'm glad that they were in a union, and I'm glad that they got breaks, and I'm glad that they got that, because they deserved it. And so yeah. All right, I have one more video. I think it's gonna go more into the strike. So let's watch that.
In the early 1880s, labor conditions were pretty hard. A lot of new immigrants were coming to America. They were reasonably unskilled, but often quite cheap labor, and they were exploited for such. So that the typical workday could be 12 hours. They often worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week.
12 hours, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, and I'm sure that they did not get breaks.
Child labor was not allowed, but it wasn't regulated, and so kids as young as 6, 7, 8, 10 worked in the mills, and the conditions were not terribly safe. There were terrible accidents that occurred. The first Labor Day was...
He lost a finger. Do you see that? He doesn't have a finger. Are those 2 fingers? He lost 2 fingers. That kid lost 2 fingers. That's crazy. See, and like something that Hassan always says, which I appreciate, is that all of these regulations that everyone wants to get rid of, all of these laws that we have that everyone wants to get rid of, is literally those have happened, and those are in place because people have died, because people have gotten hurt. Those laws are literally written in blood because people had to get hurt before we started regulating things. And so these red states trying to get rid of some of these child labor laws is terrifying when you look back at the history of this country and you see a picture like this and you're like, oh shit, like I don't want to go back to that. That's crazy. How old is that kid? And he has lost 2 fingers. Crazy.
September 1882. The founder probably was Matthew McGuire. He helped to organize a major march and demonstration to affirm labor's rights. And 10,000 people marched. That was a Tuesday. That was the first Tuesday in September. What triggered a national Labor Day in 1894 was a rather dramatic strike that took place. The Pullman workers in Chicago went out on strike. The federal government intervened because the Pullman cars basically, with a boycott of them, stopped the American railway system from operating.
Yeah, so I think that's important because they literally they stopped the railway system from operating. And back then, those railway, what is it, like Kyle likes to call them, they were like robber barons. But those guys who were in charge of the railways and owned the railways, those were the people who had most of the wealth. And so when they stopped that, I'm sure it cost them a shit ton of money. But I also think, and I'm not sure if I'm correct if it came from this strike, but I'm sure that that's one of the reasons why. Isn't it illegal for a lot of these railway workers to strike now? Because I know that was an issue when Biden was president, is that they wanted to strike, but it was illegal and they couldn't. I think Biden ended up handling that pretty well, actually. It just didn't get covered very much, but not at first, but I think he ended up actually giving them a lot of what they wanted and helping them out, but it just didn't get covered. But I do think that that's probably why that it's illegal now for them to strike, because of stuff like this, where they halted when they halted all the railways when they were striking, which good for them, honestly. Like, I feel like that's the only way you can get to capitalists, is actually like them having to lose money from the people who the people who make them money, to actually say, hey, without us, you don't get a profit. Without us, you have nothing. So I think that's important.
So the federal troops were called out to crush the strike. People were killed. It was a terribly violent strike. It was not a happy day for labor. Government, being politicians, wanted labor on their side, and so as a concession, they then passed legislation authorizing a Labor Day. First Monday in September from then on.
That's kind of insane that like 70 people died, and yet what they got was a day off. One day off every year. Like, that's kind of insane that was the compromise that the politicians were willing to come to. That's a little pathetic if you ask me, but that's just my opinion.
Labor Day has evolved since 1894. Increasingly, even the marches and the parades became really opportunities for a patriotic holiday more than actually a celebration of labor per se.
Yeah.
But the union
Well, I don't think we really get, again, and go on my soapbox about American schools, especially in red states, but you don't really get taught about Labor Day either. Like, you don't get taught about these strikes. You don't get taught about this stuff. And I mean, it's on purpose. They don't want you to know about it, because then you might get some ideas. But yeah, like, I never learned about the history of Labor Day when I was a kid. What, are you kidding me?
it's strong.
We have paid holidays because of the labor movement.
Yeah.
We have a 8-hour day because of the labor movement.
Yep.
We have paid vacations because of a labor movement.
Yep.
We have health care, those of us who still have it, because of the labor movement.
Yep.
And it's a chance really to recognize those kinds of gains. But over time, it's become much more than that. It has become, for all of us, the marker of the end of summer, the beginning of...
Yeah, like you were saying. Yep, yeah. Yeah, I do think it's important that we kind of like keep... I do think it's important that we focus on the labor part of it, though, because I do think that's really important, especially nowadays. But, maybe that's just me.
School, an opportunity for picnics, for barbecues. In its own way, ironically, Labor Day is as much about consumption as it is about labor nowadays.
Yeah, which is like totally the opposite of the point.
I'd like to think that the problems facing labor and unemployment are on people's minds. I'm sure that they are on people's minds. I'm not sure that Labor Day is triggering those concerns anymore. And that
we do that so much in America. We take holidays, and it doesn't matter. It could be any holiday, any and every holiday, and we just turn it into this like mass consumption day. Like, that's just what we do in America, and it's so ridiculous. Like, every holiday doesn't even really have a meaning anymore. It just becomes this capitalist consumption day or week or whatever. Like, Black Friday's not even fun anymore. Like, that used to be fun. You'd get up early, you'd stay up all night, it'd be fun. That's not even fun anymore. It's not even fun anymore. Like, it's just like literally, it's like we've taken every holiday and just like ruined it with capitalism and just like so much consumption. It's so stupid. They just don't have meanings. Of course, that's probably on purpose with like Labor Day. It just means Labor Day sales to people now. Exactly. And I'm sure that's on purpose. So people are like, oh, let me spend this money instead of actually understanding like what this holiday is about.
That's unfortunate.
That's, yeah. All right. Well, that is the history of Labor Day. Yes. Always remember all of the people who have fought for our rights and have fought for better conditions, and we need to continue that fight and continue to resist, especially with this administration in power. Yes. All right. Well, I am going to leave a little early today. I apologize that it's a little bit of a shorter stream, but I wanted to say hello and see you all and talk to you all, even though it's Labor Day. So it's a little bit of a holiday. And yeah, but yeah, thank you for coming to the stream. So this was fun. I'm glad we got to learn about Labor Day and talk about Trump. That was really fun. After all the crazy shit that's been going on, I'm happy that we can have some laughs, at least in the meantime. Yay, this was fun. Yes, I had a lot of fun too. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to say thank you to my members before I go. So thank you, Troy Roberto. Thank you, Queen of Daydreams. Thank you, Crystal Safira. And if you all want to join my membership, please do. If not, you can help me by subscribing or commenting or liking or, you know, sharing, what have you. And yeah, thank you all so much for coming today. It was really fun. Happy Labor Day. And yeah, let's continue to resist. All right, love you all. Bye.